Fuck.
He's over here looking it up for you, Dave. What an asshole.
Yeah.
I was just surprised that Devontae Adams in this draft. Oh, Allen Robinson's in this draft. Jarvis Landry.
Hey, we're live. How's it going, guys?
Hey, what's good? I'll tell you what's good. This movie.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's not.
Say an unkind word about it, Dave, and this is going to become two guys in a mic real quick.
Well,
what?
Let's get started then. Well,
oh shit! Shit!
What?
Guess who was in this fucking draft?
Okay, who?
Tom Savage.
We drafted him, so I mean, and I don't think the guy is even on a team. Last I looked,
I think he just retired.
I thought he was gonna go join the fan frenzy football league with Johnny Manziel. I don't know.
Ugh.
They got some bullshit league.
Might as well just wait for the XFL 3.0.
It's going to be better than it was with the WWE. The Rock's got it now.
Yep.
Oof. Come on with NCAA already.
Oh, the football game?
God, I can't wait.
Yeah.
Dude.
That was great news.
That was the best news this year.
I'm glad I got to share that with the human fossil.
Yep. I was ecstatic. I thought it was a rib. Not going to lie.
Nah, dog, I wouldn't joke about that. That's too important. That'll actually be the thing that gets me to buy a game system again.
I could see that for sure.
Except for Dave won't be able to play because he's got a PlayStation.
Hey, this is all going to be on record. If it comes out and we all have an Xbox, I will buy an Xbox to play this game with you guys.
Because I'm not playing no fucking football game where I got to throw a goddamn ball to the triangle, Dave. That's bullshit. Fucking square. He's open. Hit the square.
I got you. Okay.
No, I don't do that. I hit A, B, X, and Y. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Hey.
Sometimes R1.
Hey guys, how's your week been?
It's cold.
It's a little chilly down here in the H, in the Houston.
Yep.
We're freezing.
You know,
look, it's been a terrible week actually. I'll tell you why.
There's numerous reasons.
Yeah. I mean, look, weather's been terrible for sure. I mean, we don't deal with cold weather very well here in Houston.
But if there was a hurricane, dude, I'd stand on my rooftop in my undies saying, "Fucking bring it."
That's right. We released the greatest player in Houston Texans history this week.
That is true.
I would say,
it's a sad state of affairs.
Yeah, I don't. It's hard to. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's the first good thing the Texans have done this season.
I mean, it was the right thing to do, but and we all knew it was coming, but it still hurt. I think it hurt me more than I thought I was ready for it, and then when it happened, I wasn't ready.
I think if you look at the Mount Rushmore of Houston sports, I think he's number one. I think he's over Akeem Olajuwon. He's over Bagwell. I mean,
he's right up there with Andre Johnson.
Yeah. Okay.
Dude, come on.
Okay.
All right, I love Andre.
You're biased.
That's good. I'm sure his career at the U was fine. I'm sure.
But no.
In the NFL, he was a malcontent. He was a fucking prissy diva receiver.
If you're Andre Johnson, if you're listening, because you want to find out the AFI Top 100 movies, how's it going? But no, I think JJ Watt definitely. I mean, he transcended the sport. I mean, he wasn't just a football player at that point.
He raised $42 million
for the city of Houston.
Yeah, for Hurricane Harvey relief. That's huge.
That guy any bar he goes to in the city of Houston will get a free drink from somebody in the bar.
It's still my prediction. He'll be the first Houston Texans Hall of Famer. He'll get in long before Andre Johnson's bitch ass does. If Andre gets in at all.
No, I think JJ Watt will be a first ballot Hall of Famer without a doubt.
Absolutely.
No way. I mean, no way he won't be.
He's got to go get to the Super Bowl with his brothers. I think he's going to Pittsburgh.
I don't care.
He better take the family discount.
Yeah. I'll say this.
I'm sure he will.
I'll say this. I don't care where he goes. I want him to go to wherever will get him the best chance to win a ring.
Hey,
yeah. See, I truly believe. I was gonna say the one thing with, and watch it prove me wrong. One thing I always hated, and this goes back to the last.
He can't see your hand.
No, I'm not waving my hands. Oh, he can't. Okay, I can't. Anyway, is the fact of when a star gets towards the end, they get prissy or they get this attitude like you're holding
Andre
me
Johnson.
back, like Emmitt Smith, and they go off and they're like, it's not about the money. And then they go take a high contract with some crap ass team that doesn't do anything and their career just kind of
I really don't think JJ Watt is going to do that.
Exactly. And I think that might be the real reason why they released him. Because if you trade him, the contract goes with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I can see him taking a big discount to go play, say, with Pittsburgh or Tampa or Kansas City.
Here's the deal. It better be anywhere but the AFC South. If I look up fucking Twitter in the next couple of days and the goddamn Indianapolis Colts have fucking backed up the Brinks truck to J.J. Watt and he signs with them, he's going to be in Andre Johnson territory for me.
Look,
until he gets
here's the thing.
Tires.
Here's the thing. If I'm JJ, I've been in the league 10 years. I've done literally everything at my position with the exception of getting a ring. All right, I don't think there's anything left JJ has to prove, with the exception of he just probably wants a ring because he plays football and that's what you want to do.
Look, if I'm him, I call Tom Brady right now. Hey Tom, can you sign me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Play tight end.
No, seriously. If I'm JJ, it's a short list of teams that I'm gonna go to. It's Kansas City, Tampa Bay, Pittsburgh, Green Bay. That's pretty much it. I mean, those four teams, and I
would love for him to go to Green Bay. That's my hope, is he goes to Green Bay.
I think his wife plays in Wisconsin, in Chicago. Okay.
Yeah. Look, if he goes to Green Bay or Tampa Bay, that means we get to play him in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean,
and I would love to cost him a ring.
I mean, look, if what Josh is saying is that Houston is somehow going to get into the Super Bowl like next year.
Yeah, because I think JJ Watt's only got like 2 seasons left in him.
I mean, look, I don't.
I mean, he could play longer probably, but
JJ Watt has
in his mind.
I think JJ Watt has 2 seasons of high level play left in him. I think he could play longer if he wants to, but I think he's the type of guy who's smart, and I think he'll get out. If JJ Watt gets a ring, whenever he gets a ring, I think he'll retire.
Okay, if we're going to make the ring argument, how are the Steelers going to win a championship next year?
I agree with you. I don't think the Steelers can win a championship next year.
If he stays in the AFC, he has to go to Kansas City.
At one point, the Steelers were the best team in the AFC.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Now Ben Roethlisberger is another year older. And
I agree, but he also, this last year was his first year back from major injuries and surgery.
I don't know. I'll say
I just feel like it'd be pretty cool to go play with your brothers.
Yeah, look, that would be awesome. But you're not going to win a ring.
But you know what else, guys? We got a motherfucking movie to talk about. All right.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm a Yankee Doodle Dandy.
You're a Yankee Doodle boy?
Yes.
Okay.
That's right.
Do or die?
I'm Yankee Doodle do or die.
Dang. That's hardcore.
All right. We ready to launch this thing?
Do it. I don't know who's doing the intro. I just know it's not me.
I am.
Josh, the one-hit wonder.
Give me 2 seconds here. All right, here we go. Here I go again. Girls, what's my weakness?
Men.
Okay, then. Chilling. Minding my business. All right. All right. Here we go. Hello, and welcome to Three Guys and a Mic presents a comprehensive review of the American Film Institute's top 100 films of all time. Number 98, Yankee Doodle Dandy. I'm your co-host, the Human Dart, along with
Jason Tsunami.
And David Disaster.
Hey, that was a good one.
What's up, guys?
Ooh, one shot, baby. What's good?
The cold.
Yep.
It's actually not good.
That's not good. That's terrible.
Yeah, it's super awful.
Bro, it's supposed to be 5 degrees on Monday.
Yeah, that's listen, for if we have any worldwide listeners or maybe just anybody outside the city of Houston, here's the deal. Okay, we live in Houston, and we're famous for a lot of things, bad weather mostly,
And
particularly really bad
humidity.
weather like hurricanes.
Yeah,
And then really hot and humid times. Like
we can handle those things pretty well, all things considered.
So those cities that are mocking us out there for freaking out about this super cold weather and these icy conditions, we don't have the shit that you have.
Why don't you deal with a Category 5 hurricane and then come talk to me?
That's right. That's right. By the way, for anybody wondering out there, we've been joined by none other than drunk David Ford.
That's right.
Drunk Dave is here. So a lot of you guys may not know this, but you're in for a treat. Okay, it's an experience. Because it doesn't happen very often, so it's good. Well, welcome to the show, Drunk Dave.
How's it going? Just finished that bottle of wine. About to go pop another.
By the way, for anybody not joining us on YouTube here, and I would urge you to go see the size of this bottle. Okay, this is a mini bottle of wine here. Okay,
Yeah.
it's not like he just polished off a full bottle.
No.
Yeah.
It's like a mini bottle of Bartles and James.
Yeah, it's not 32 ounces.
No, we get a little classy here on the Three Guys and a Mic podcast. Okay.
I'm trying to see. Oh, look. I want to put a shout out in case we get sponsored. Shout out Sutter Home Family Vineyards, Pink Moscato in California. It has got a nice pink hue, and they've been in business since 1948.
Almost around the time of this movie.
187. Wait, it says 187 milliliters. I don't think that's accurate, but I'm gonna drink this anyway.
Oh dear God. Well, hey, while Drunk Dave continues to dive down that hole, hey man, we're here for a reason this week. We're here for our third installment of our series, recapping and reviewing the American Film Institute's top 100 movies.
Are they as good as everyone says?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've made it to number 98, which is 1942's classic Yankee Doodle Dandy.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so do we want to talk about it a little bit first, or do we want to give our shitometer rating and then talk about it?
Jason, hit the recap real quick.
All right. So we have
then I'll hit a few stats, and then we'll talk about our feelings here.
All right. Brought to the White House to receive a congressional gold medal from then President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, Broadway legend George Cohan, played by James Cagney, reflects on his life. Flashbacking traces through Cohan's rise from a child performing in his family's vaudeville act to his early days as a struggling Tin Pan Alley songwriter, to his overwhelming success as an actor, writer, director, producer, known for his patriotic songs. Following his life all the way up until pretty much the end. It takes you full circle back to his meeting with the president.
Yep. So, Yankee Doodle Dandy, this movie was actually released May 29th, 1942. And I thought, I was like, man, this might be the oldest movie I've ever seen. But it's not. It's not.
Okay.
Wizard of Oz, 1939, actually.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, now we all know that's I guess that might be my oldest.
Yeah.
Yep, I would also agree that's probably my oldest.
So this movie was made with a budget of $1.5 million.
Steep.
And yep, it grossed $11.8 million at the box office.
Look,
That's crazy.
you can't. I mean, given the percentage as profit, there, it's pretty good.
Yeah. So I mean, in today's dollars, that's more like $189 million.
Yep.
So
Not bad.
a pretty successful movie.
Yep. So, award nominations. So, this movie was nominated for a lot of Oscars. It actually won 3. It won for Best Actor, James Cagney.
Okay.
It won for Best Sound and Best Original Music.
Okay.
Other nominations included nomination for Best Picture that year, but it lost to a movie called Mrs. Miniver.
Classic.
Oh,
Yeah.
yep.
Never heard of it.
It's not on the top 100 as far as I know.
It's not.
I guess they were wrong.
Yeah, you had Best Supporting Actor, which was Walter Houston, which was Cohan's dad in the movie, and then we had the director who was nominated for Best Director, who he did not win for this movie, but he did win the Oscar for Best Director of the other movie that he directed this year, Casablanca.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty good year for this guy.
Yeah. Oh, shit, he put his stamp on that year.
Yep. And it was also nominated for Best Writing and Best Film Editing. So just a couple of other quick stats here. So James Cagney, this is his only appearance on the AFI list. And then Michael Kurt, I'm probably going to pronounce this wrong, Curtiz. He's the director. He's got 2 movies that showed up on this list. Obviously, Yankee Doodle Dandy, and then the number 3 movie of all time, Casablanca.
Wow.
Yeah, and both of these movies came out in the same year, so pretty interesting stats there.
So he almost got the bookend deal on this AFI.
Yep, top and bottom. Actually, oddly enough, third from the bottom, third from the top. That's pretty interesting.
Almost like it was planned.
Yeah. So hey, general feelings about the movie here.
The movie was fine. I did not hate the movie. It's not a terrible movie.
Are we giving our Shadometer rating here?
We can just kind of give some general reviews and then Dave. You're just dying to give us your shit on me.
No. I'm just trying to figure out what the flow is here. That's all.
Okay. Anyway,
we're just talking about the movie here real quick.
Yeah.
Just general feelings.
Okay, sorry.
It did not do for me what I kind of was hoping it would do. I think I went into this movie. This is a movie I had never had any desire to watch.
I'd never heard of it until I saw it on this list.
Oh, okay. I'd heard of it, but I was kind of hoping for like a Ben-Hur, where I went into it like not ready to watch it, and then come out of it the other end like, oh my god, that was great. That just didn't happen this time. Can't win them all, but my wife did like it, so there you go, 50-50.
Yeah,
Dave?
I found myself really enjoying it. I've watched this movie 3 times in the last week and a half or so, because I'm trying to watch each one of these movies at least twice.
Yeah.
Leading up to these, just so I can have, hopefully I can get a little bit more detail. So I watched the first time just kind of from an entertainment factor, and then the second time just to try and get a few things jotted down. I actually watched this for a third time today. I watched a good portion of it this morning when I woke up, and then I watched probably the last hour of it here before we got on the podcast. I like this movie way more than I thought it would. I think so far, I've been the most surprised with this movie, obviously, because I went in with no knowledge of who George M. Cohan is, and or any of his songs other than Grand Old Flag, obviously, that most of us have heard throughout our life. So that's the only song that I really knew, and kind of coming out of it, I just thought the movie was very entertaining. I thought James Cagney was awesome in this movie.
Definitely.
Yeah. Dave, what'd you think?
So, I went into this movie, I didn't really have any expectations, honestly. It's a movie I never really heard of. I wasn't really familiar with George Cohan prior to this. But I knew it was a musical, and I guess I had whatever preconceived notions you might have being a musical is what I had. I expected, the plot and the story to kind of go through, and then they would use song to kind of tell part of that story. Similar to, I don't know, like I guess like Grease, right? As an example,
The Greatest Showman.
Yeah, like
Whatever.
Where people are singing and dancing, but it's just part of telling the story. And this was not that. This kind of came off as more of a almost like a greatest hits of George Cohen.
Me and Jason were talking about it beforehand. We talked about it as more like, I think this movie's more of a victory lap.
Sure.
For Cohen, because this comes out the year he dies. Before he sees it before he dies, but I think like his music and stuff like that was still pretty fresh in people's minds at this time.
Yeah, and I think honestly, it's a movie that kind of fell a little flat for me in terms of the messaging, and I think that partly has to do with the age of the movie, and like it didn't resonate for me as well as I would have hoped, and ultimately, I have. I would say I'm fairly disappointed in the movie, and in terms of my expectations versus what I got, right? And I'm not going to say that that's necessarily the movie's fault, but that's just kind of where I'm at right now.
I mean, look, the good thing about the movie, the way it's set up from a musical standpoint, is you don't have to sit there and listen to the songs to understand the story or to keep up with the story. So I mean, if you're just wanting to go through this and just follow along with the story of the movie, you can do that without ever listening to one song. But
yeah,
I think the music in it is really good. Actually, I really enjoyed like all the musical pieces in here. And again, I think it comes back to Cagney. For me, I don't know, man. He's so charismatic in this movie. And for me, I think a lot of the music and a lot of the things in it are just, I like it because he's doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think Cagney is, as we will talk about, I think Cagney is easily the best performance in the movie. Like, yeah. I don't even think I think if anybody has a different person other, like as far as their favorite character, I mean, like obviously favorite character and the person who was who had the best acting doesn't necessarily have to be the same, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's Cagney's sweep in terms of favorite character, is what I'm saying.
We'll see when we get there. So, for those that have followed along with the last couple of episodes here, we introduced our own proprietary rating system here for the movies, called the Shit-O-Meter. And the name of the game here is you want the lowest score possible. If you get a 1 or 0, I guess is possible, but if you get a 0 to a 1%, we're talking greatest movie of all time. We're talking Princess Bride levels of Shit-O-Meter right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 1 to 10.
I think 1% would be the highest.
1% would be the highest, and then as you get to 100, that's the absolute worst piece of shit of all time. So, for me, I had this movie as a solid 40. I gave this the same score as Ben-Hur because I feel like I liked both movies fairly equally, but for different reasons.
Sure.
But, I don't think it's better than Ben-Hur, but it's certainly not worse. So I gave it a 40.
All right, I'll go next because I feel like I'm going to be on the opposite end of that spectrum, and then Jason can kind of bring us back to the middle. So I want to explain kind of where I am at with my rating. So because I bounced around a little bit internally, I think I gave you guys a score that I was going to give it, but I've changed it since then, and this is kind of where I'm at. I look at this score as like how many people can I really recommend watch this movie, right? For me, and I feel like while I'm not going to say that the movie was poorly made or even poorly acted, because I think it is well acted by a large portion of the cast, and I think the movie is well made. Clearly, I mean, it's on AFI's list in general, so it's going to be well made. I think the music is good if you like that kind of music. But for me, it comes down to, you know, who am I going to recommend this movie to? And I feel like I can only recommend this movie to a few people. They have to be really into musicals, for one. So, like, that's a narrower list than normal. But it's not just musicals in general, because I don't think I can recommend this to somebody who's just, like, who likes Disney musicals or likes, like, movies like Grease or whatever, right? Or Chicago. Like, it's a specific kind of musical, because it's really just seeing plays, like vaudeville type stuff. So, ultimately, I came down to a 66. I don't think I could recommend this movie to a large audience.
66.
Yeah, I don't think I could recommend this movie to a large audience of people.
Brother, oh my God, I'm gonna murder this movie next week. I just can't. Again, I'm not saying the movie is. Well, I guess I am saying the movie is bad. That's exactly what you're saying, Dave.
I'm saying that this movie is bad for a large portion of people. Okay, but I think there is a small group of people, film students or musical, you know, people who are really into musicals, like heavy, will probably see a lot to like about this movie. But I think just your average Joe Schmo people that listen to our podcast, I don't think very many of them are going to enjoy this movie. At least they're not going to just whip this movie out on a Saturday night when they're bored. Like, this is not the movie I'd recommend for that. So yeah,
is Ben-Hur that movie?
Ben-Hur is significantly. I mean, to me, I gave Ben-Hur a 33. So Ben-Hur is twice the movie this is.
It's twice the movie in length. For sure, but,
and twice the quality.
So what you're saying is, you sit down with Sally on a Saturday night. You're like, hey, okay, baby, what do you want to watch tonight? Because I'm thinking Ben-Hur.
Well, not with Sally specifically. Like, I mean, she's not gonna like that type of movie.
Which movie would Sally like more?
She'd like Toy Story as far as the movies that we've done in this AFI list.
We're not talking about Toy Story. We're talking about Yankee Doodle Dandy, and we're talking about Ben-Hur.
I think she would dislike both of the movies, personally.
Way to create your own narrative there.
Look, man. Hey, look. This is why it's three guys and a mic. We have three different ratings, three different perspectives. Okay.
Jason,
yes.
What's your rating?
All right. So ultimately, I gave this movie a 50. Now, while I do believe the movie is fine, I don't think it's awful, but I think it is a product of its time, meaning that in 1942, if I'm watching this movie, I probably know who George Cohan is.
Yeah.
And I'm excited probably to see it.
This is probably the equivalent of them coming out with like the Metallica movie for us today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
If you go 100 years in the future and you go, hey, check this out, and you're like, I don't know who this is.
Yeah.
Well, that would probably be different because that's a lie, because in 100 years, like, people are still going to know who Metallica is. But anyway, like, I did not know who he was. I had no idea. And even, like, though I watched the entire movie, really what I gathered was that he was still, like, a career actor, vaudevillian. He made it big on Broadway. But it left me wanting more. Like, I really wanted to be invested. And this is something that I bring up quite a bit. Like, I want to be invested in at least whoever the main character is. And while I was watching the story unfold, similar to what Dave said, I felt like I was watching a tribute story and his greatest hits.
Yeah.
And so,
but you know,
that's why
you said something earlier off the podcast here, where you talked about you didn't feel like that he went through any down years or any
well, what I mean by that is like I feel like
there was almost no conflict in this movie.
Well, no. What I'm talking about is, like, normally in somebody's life, and I'll guarantee you at some point in Cohen's life, where, let's just say, he loses a sibling, he loses his father, he loses his wife or child or the family pet or whatever, and it inspires him to do something. On conversely, if he has a child, did that inspire anything? When he got married, the only time that ever happens is when he writes the song for Mary, and for me,
That's not
that was
true.
the only time. Well, I felt like that was the only time where he was inspired by something that was going on, and then he wrote about it.
When he writes the song Over There, I mean, he comes out after trying to sign up for the military, sees the whole military band, gets the idea for it, writes it, and then they perform it.
Well, I mean, technically, that's the same thing he did with that actress when she went on stage and sang her song. She's just 15 minutes away. I mean, that's kind of
45 minutes from Broadway.
45 minutes from Broadway. But what I'm saying is, like, I didn't feel like there was any hardship in his life in which I felt connected to him.
So
I just never felt like invested in the main character.
He gets turned down by all these people to fund his play. His parents are having to eat fucking bread.
That's only because
his parents can't even eat goulash. His parents can't even eat fucking goulash, bro, because of the shit that he's going through.
That's because he put him through that.
So that's conflict. He's dealing with shit.
No, he created his own shit.
I mean, that may be the case, but that's still conflict.
I mean, I guess.
Here's what I'll say is and look, again, this might be because this was my expectation going into this movie. My expectation going into this movie is that, one, I come in, I don't know shit about George Cohen, and then when I get out of it, I can comfortably talk about his life. The problem is outside of, again, the highlights, right? And I get it. It's a 2-hour movie. We're not going to know every little thing about this dude's life. But I don't feel like I know hardly anything about this man.
Well, I think you know everything George Cohan wants you to know. I mean, he was, and going back and reading some of the stuff, he was very involved, in the process of making the movie. He didn't want any mention of his first wife in the movie. It's like anything else. It's like Straight Outta Compton. Like, you watch Straight Outta Compton right now, you're not going to see Dr. Dre beat up D. Barnes, because he didn't want that in the movie.
Sure. Like, I understand part of that, but like, okay, this is what I'll say. And again, I'm not speaking for Jason or for anybody. I'm just speaking for me. I think the most interesting parts of this movie was when there wasn't singing. Okay. I wanted more story. I wanted more of the man, right? And
I don't disagree with that at all.
And I feel like the movie is, for better or worse, I mean, it is a musical, right? So it is, I don't know exact percentage, but I'm just going to say it's like 60-70% singing and musicals. And the music,
that's probably a little robust.
Okay, I'm going to say it's at least 50, right? Can we agree that it's at least half the movie is singing? Probably.
I'm going to settle on 48.6%.
Okay. So, of the 2 hours, we're looking at about, 55 minutes of singing, right?
55 minutes and 32 seconds.
And we get an hour. We get an hour of actual, like, acting, right? And actual story elements and stuff like that. And I just wanted more.
And that's what I wrote right here. I felt like I wanted more, and I just wanted more of. I just wanted to look.
I think fans here want more of this podcast to move on. So,
well, look, that leaves us with an overall rating of 52%.
Yeah, way too low in my opinion, or high, depending on which way you want to look at it. That's too bad of a score for this movie.
Well, look, that's the aggregate. So I mean, we got to take it for what it is.
That's okay. I can virtually guarantee there will be a movie, possibly the next one, that will be worse than this.
For you, yes, I'm sure.
Will.
Oh yeah, I see a triple-digit score coming.
Well, there's only one triple-digit score possible, and that's a 100.
That's good, Dave. Your arithmetic is sharp. I'm glad you can feel the arithmetic here. Okay. All right. Hey. So let's move on here to best scene. I know
Best
you guys
scene.
probably don't have a lot of best scenes because you guys didn't like the movie very much, but I have a robust list of options here.
Okay, look,
Okay,
can I talk about my best scene? Because I'm sure you got a billion best scenes that you're gonna discuss, and I don't want you trampling on mine. Okay,
Go ahead, Dave. Go ahead.
so I thought mine are a pair, right? Because I think they go together, right? And I apologize. I'm gonna take another swig. And
Sip.
so I love the scene where he is with Faye Templeton, the singer, and he's playing 45 minutes to Broadway, and then his buddy is like, "Oh, dude, show her the fucking Mary song," and he's like, "Chill the fuck out, dude. That's for my wife." And
breaks.
yeah,
I don't think they're married yet. At this
no,
point,
you know what I mean. That's his girl, right? That's his girl.
Yeah.
And
that was a weird. The relationship he has with Mary in this movie is kind of odd because like
she's really young when they meet, or is that what you're referring to?
Well, no, because look, Jason and Tamara are like 20 years apart because he's a fucking cradle robbing motherfucker. But like,
Jesus Christ,
it's not necessarily that. It's just like, I guess I feel like instantly that they're this thing, but the way they interact, the way they interact, like I don't feel like they really become this couple until he gives away the Mary song to Faye Templeton.
Yeah, well, hey. You're giving away my fucking goodies, okay? So Faye finds out about the Mary song. She's playing it, and he's like looking at his buddy, and he's like, "You fucked me, bro. You fucked me. And now we got to go get Whataburger, and I got to eat a bunch of mustard on my hamburger." So that's an inside joke. Sorry. So we go to the very next scene, and fucking Cohen shows up with the biggest goddamn bundle of flowers I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing of chocolate. Like this dude's got a suitcase of chocolate.
Oh, dude, I want every bit of chocolate out of that suitcase, bro. It looks so good.
Dude,
500 pieces of chocolate.
Like I'd have forgiven anybody if they just showed up with flowers and chocolate like that. Fuck. And anyway, this was kind of an okie doke, right? This is an okie doke. So he goes in. He's clearly about to apologize to his soon to be wife, right? Because actually, I think he proposes to her right after this. So,
yeah, he does. Yep.
And so he goes in. He's like, "Hey, she's singing the fucking song Mary," and he just gave it away. And he's like, "God damn it!" He closes the door. I'm obviously paraphrasing. There's no cursing like that in the movie. And
but you can see in his face. He shuts the door, and he's like, "God damn it!"
Yeah, he rings the doorbell, so she has to get up because he doesn't want her to. No, I guess he wants her to like stop singing the song. And she opens and they talk or whatever, and he's like, he's beating around the bush like a motherfucker. We've all been there. He's trying to butter her up first. He doesn't want to drop her with that fucking heavy news yet. And they're talking, and then he finally gives her the flower, or he finally says, "Hey, by the way, hey, I just told you all this good shit. I'm working with Faye Templeton."
Well, yeah, exactly. After all this, and he puts her in a position of saying, "You should give her."
Whatever,
give her anything she wants,
and he's like,
do anything to get her to work with you.
And he's like,
now he's like, "Oh yeah, baby, I'm in."
And then he says, "Hey, by the way, I gave Faye Templeton your song, Mary," and she's like, she's like, "Okay, that's nice," and he's like, "Listen, like, hold on, just sit still for a second. I just gave your song away, Mary. I had to give it to her." He's like, "Oh," she's like, "I know. When you showed up with them flowers and chocolate, I knew what was going down." And
she does that later too.
And then she does a wing.
She does it at the end of the movie whenever she gets him to go do that last play. They get him to the president.
And I think that was again, this is the shit I wanted out of this movie, right? I thought that was an incredibly well acted scene from both people. Right, from Cagney and from Joan. I'm not going to remember her last name. I apologize. But I thought that was awesome. Like that, those scenes had me. Like I said, if this movie would have had more of that, it would for sure have gotten a much lower score from me. But I'll concede to someone else.
All right. I have like two scenes that are like my I think my favorite scenes. I'm going to save one of them for later. But I think my one of my favorite scenes is the right after him and his partner swindle the investor.
The German guy, or I forget where he's from.
Yeah, the German guy. About the play that they have, that they say that they're about to go get their fat check from the
Dietz and
two other dudes.
from Dietz and Gotts.
Yep,
Dietz and Gotts.
God damn it, that's my favorite scene.
They backdoor this guy. And, well, my scene is the scene that happens right after it. It's the opening sequence for the Yankee Doodle song that takes place at the racetrack.
For little Johnny Jones.
Yes. For some reason, like the way that it plays out, the way it just kind of like flows right with that scene of which they kind of backdoor their way into this financing deal. And the just the way that it's like, I would have loved to actually have seen that live. For whatever reason, the way that it's sung, the population that is taking the stage, and the way that everything just kind of that whole sequence of events, for whatever reasons, was just fantastic for me.
It's good. Did you have another one? Or were those the two kind of together? Okay.
Yeah, they're together, but the other part that's my favorite is kind of goes into what we're going to talk about later with like what aged well.
Okay. Yeah, for me, I have a couple of scenes. I mean, just some of the early scenes where he's, where you get young Cohan getting beat up by the kids for his performance of the little bad kid, and then the way he acts with his fucking parents and gets his parents, fucked out of a show because he's a little asshole.
Yep.
Dude, when his dad says, well, I mean, it's probably the best thing that could have happened to you.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was a good scene. But for me, the best scene in the movie is, when Cohan is, he's not dealing with any of that strife or any pain, he's just trying to go find someone to pay for his show. And he's in the bar and hears, the conversation going on with Schwab. Schwab is the guy that ends up investing in the play, and then his future partner Sam, and basically interjects himself. And just the way that Sam ends up kind of going along with the whole conversation, I don't know, I ate that shit up. I've rewatched that same scene 3 times now, and I like that scene more every single time. Because like he's pitching Schwab this melodrama about forest fires, and he's like, Schwab is totally not into this thing, and I don't know what where this dude Schwab is from, but I love the way he talks. It's very funny.
Yeah.
And
when he says I can spend my wife's money too.
Yeah. Yeah. How is Guts' money better than my wife's money?
That's right.
Yeah. But I don't know. That whole scene is really, really good, and I like seeing the partnership kind of come together between him and Sam there. So that was my favorite scene from the movie.
Good stuff.
Favorite characters. So, are we ready for the Cohan sweep?
Yeah.
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 I mean, I want to also say this is not just a favorite character sweep or like character for me, but this is just favorite actor. Yeah. I don't know shit about Cagney. I've never seen a single thing with him in it besides this.
So have you ever heard like anybody say, or any other like,
you dirty rat?
You dirty rat.
Yeah, exactly.
I have heard that.
That's him.
So like, okay, y'all are gonna laugh, and probably like 1 person out of 10 is gonna get this, but this was my knowledge of Cagney going in. Was from the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie.
Yep.
Whenever it goes, you dirty rat, he goes, oh no, not Cagney. That was literally my only fucking experience.
Michelangelo, right?
Yeah. You killed my brother, you dirty rat. Who? And it's like, that's it. That's fucking.
Dude, that's all I've seen of that line. I agree. I'm 100% with you there.
Oh, good.
So like after seeing this and seeing how good he is in this movie, like I'm totally considering going back and picking out a couple of Cagney movies.
Like I would say this. I wouldn't just pick me personally, I wouldn't just pick any random Cagney movies. I'd want to look at like what's widely considered like some of his best work, and then go check those out. But I think,
Dave, have you ever heard of Yankee Doodle Dandy?
Yeah,
I have.
He won the Oscar for that one, Dave.
That's unfortunate. Look, no, like I said, dude. My problem with this movie is I didn't get enough of the good things that I really enjoyed, and so
that's all right. We're done with problems.
I really loved Cagney, and I really love George Cohen just overall.
The dude is a beast in this movie.
Yeah,
like I usually try and find somebody else, and it was just like his performance is overpowering.
Yeah, it's really good,
dude. I mean, I think he elevates pretty much. I mean, he's Tom Brady. He elevates everybody else on screen.
Yeah, I think the big thing to remember too, like he's the first like musician, actor, anything like that to get this Congressional Gold Medal. Like, besides the fact that he was like the king of Broadway and he had all this great stuff, dude, he wrote music for America.
Yeah,
that were big. I mean, again, going back to your Grand Old Flag, right? Like, I feel like we've all probably heard that song at some point in our lives, but the other song that he's more widely known for over there, you know, that's still a song that is played and talked about like in the Army. So like Dave and I have both worked for a guy that he's in the Army Reserve. He's been in the Army for, I think it's like 22 years now.
Yep.
And like I referenced this to him just kind of casually, just to kind of get an idea of how ingrained this song was still like in the military. He was able to sing the song. So
there you go.
Like, you know, while we don't know Cohan as much, like there's still, you know, he's still a big part of some of these institutions in the country, like the United States Army, right?
Yeah.
And that was really their fucking, like, there was their big song for World War I. And, you know, I felt like a lot of this movie too was like a lot of propaganda for World War II, you know, trying to get people riled up again for World War II and kind of know, flying the flag, right?
Sure.
Yep.
What about least favorite characters? What do we think?
I'm gonna come out and I will say this: like, I struggled heavily with least favorite character, and I will admit I just kind of picked somebody. I didn't have anybody that I necessarily. So this person that I picked isn't a bad character. Okay, I just want to say this, and I picked Jerry Cohen, the dad. Okay, and the reason for that is just, this is not even fair to the movie, right? I admit that, but like the dude just did like
he's jealous.
Who is?
The father.
Jerry, the dad.
Yeah.
He's jealous of his kid the whole time.
Pretty much. And I don't know if he's like a great father, to be honest. Like, his kids don't go to school. Like, he immediately just takes them with the family business. Like, his son is born and he fucking opens up the window and he's like, "Hey, it's a boy." They fucking shoot a cannon and wake him up, and the dad doesn't give a shit.
He was gonna swat his hand, but he couldn't because he played the violin.
Yeah, he was gonna.
So he was just gonna slap him
in the fucking face, and then the mother was like, "No, not his singing face," and then he fucking beats his ass.
Look, he's a showbiz dad, all right.
Look,
he went to the school of hard knocks, bro.
Yeah, I mean, and then George Cohen went to no school because his dad doesn't believe in that. So I don't know, dude. Like I said,
basically what this says is you could not go to school, and then you can end up living in a house later on in life where you casually sit around in a tux.
I would say that has aged poorly, because you probably can't do that a lot too much anymore.
Well, don't jump ahead too far there.
Okay, well, again, I think Jerry Cohen was just kind of a pick. I don't necessarily think that there was a necessarily bad character in this.
There was, Dave. His name was unnamed New York theater manager guy.
It's such a silly pick.
I mean, it's not like he is there to try and work out a deal with the Cohens. And at this exact moment, You have George putting Mary into a situation in which
George
he
is
wants
flexing.
her. Yeah, he wants her to sing his song, and he knows that they're going to love it, but it's not on the call sheet. And this guy starts tripping balls. And
Hey,
then
listen, number one, props to this guy for knowing what she's supposed to be singing. Okay? Because he's over here trying to handle business, and all of a sudden he just like,
he's like,
whoa,
what the fuck is this?
What the fuck is this shit?
Yep. And then him and Cohan get it into it. He accidentally pushes him over and knocks half the stage down, and basically blackballs him and his whole family. Like, this isn't
so
like.
Would you say that's a little bit of the non-conflict that he had to deal with in his life, being blackballed? Oh, okay, yeah, cool. Go ahead.
Yeah,
sorry.
At this point, I mean, Cohan, of course, instigated the situation, but yeah, I mean, that's the bad guy of this movie. The unnamed New York theater manager guy.
That's a solid choice, Fossil. I like it. I would say he's probably the creator of most of the conflict that doesn't exist in this movie. All right. My least favorite character. So the best character in this movie is Cohan.
Correct.
My least favorite character in this movie is young Cohan.
Young Cohan. Oh my god! Like the kid,
bratty kid,
the kid Cohan. Yeah. What an asshole this kid was, man.
Like, well, it's I kept waiting for. I'm kind of a big deal.
Yeah,
pretty much.
There's a bunch of people waiting for you out here. Oh my god, it's happening. Okay, let me go out and meet the press here, and then he goes out there and gets his ass whooped by these fucking kids. But just the way he fucking handles his parents is priceless. But more so too is I feel like that's probably the worst acting in the whole movie is the kid when he's like, "Okay, Dad. I'll only be, bad boy Pete from the hours of 8 to 11 every night." And the sister's like, "Yeah, and 2 to 5 on Sundays. You're right, sis." Yeah.
That played out. It played out exactly like you watch these really bad television shows, and at the end, they have the joke in which everybody.
In which everybody what, Fossil?
Laughs.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, it got cut off there. Perfect time. Okay. Young Cohan, what an asshole.
Yeah, that is true.
All right,
listen, you guys are limited here. You can't just rail on the movie here. So, what's the age poorly? I'll go first.
Okay, go ahead.
The use of blackface.
Oh, you stole mine.
Absolutely.
I know, Dave. I know. Not a good look. Okay, when I saw it, I was like, ugh. But it's like I feel like we're gonna see it a lot in a lot of these older movies that maybe have some form of entertainment. Not good. And then the only other thing I really had for has aged poorly is the use of black butlers at the White House.
Yeah, that didn't work out too well either.
So I'll go real quick. I'll go next because part of it is what you said, Josh, and it's blackface. And then I put there was a song specifically that Mary sang that was would not be good in 2021. It was like the first song that she sung.
So we're talking about the one that gets Cohen in trouble, right?
Correct.
Absolutely.
So Jason said this earlier, and I just whatever. I did listen. I listened to him say it, but I guess I haven't listened to the words of this song because I've heard it 3 times, and so I've not picked up anything in it that's bad. So I couldn't tell you a single word in the song.
I did not want to pull up the lyrics, but I typically watch these movies with subtitles, just so I make sure I catch everything. I won't go into details. It's just, let's just say the song is not favorable towards black people. So, we'll just say that it's not in good. It's in very poor taste in 2021 standards. Right. So, I mean, look.
I'll go back and give it a listen after this because now I'm super curious.
Yeah.
Because that's unfortunate if that's the case because it's I recognize the song as just being like a good melody.
Yeah, you'll have to.
Yeah, no, it was a good melody. But
you'll definitely have to put on subtitles just to make sure you catch everything. So, with that song specifically.
No.
That's
unfortunate.
And look, yeah, that's a product of this. The movie, it's a product of the movie's time, and also product of when the movie is supposed to be taking place. You know what I'm saying? So, not an excuse, but it is what it is. So that's
let's see. Okay, so we've been over pretty much everything on my list. The only two other things that I have on here that have aged poorly, and they're only aging poorly for the times that we are currently in today. And that would be an additional scene in which there are some people of color singing a song and basically worshiping a statue of Abraham Lincoln. That exact image is a statue in Washington, D.C. that's being taken down. And then the other part is you could not put this movie out today without so much backlash on the fact that it truly is, and it totally was, an American propaganda film.
Yep.
Like that, it just wouldn't work today.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very much like the first time I watched it, I was like, "Oh yeah, cool. We're trying to get people amped up for the war here." So, this guy was like the big rally for World War I. Now we're going to introduce his movie here right as we're getting ready to go storm Normandy, because this literally comes out a month before
Pearl Harbor.
Yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah. It's no, it's so 41 was Pearl Harbor, right?
Yeah.
December 7th, 1941.
Yes.
Correct.
So,
yes,
this is 6 months after Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, it was already in production. From what I read,
still a couple of years before Normandy.
Yeah, from what I read, all signs were pointing to war coming, and then as this was shooting, Pearl Harbor happened. And apparently there was a big speech given to everybody that was involved saying that, that this was going to be an extremely important period piece because war was coming. So I don't know if that got anybody extra riled up.
I wonder if that changed. I probably didn't, but I'm curious if that changed the direction of the film at all.
I don't think so, because I never read anything just in the research that I did that suggested that. And even what I just said, as far as this speech, is slightly debated. Whether it actually took place or not.
I think too, like it's not like this music was manufactured for this movie in 1942. I mean, he wrote a lot of this patriotic stuff early 1900s.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yankee Doodle, Grand Old Flag, all that stuff.
In fact, there's that one scene, and this is okay. So, are we transitioning to Aged Well yet?
Yeah, let's just do it.
Okay, so one scene in here, I have two scenes that I really liked that I thought that aged well as far as this movie. The one scene that I thought was cleverly done is a little montage part where time is passing, and what you see is like the backdrop silhouette of the city.
And all the Broadway shows and the songs are going.
Yeah. And the songs are merging from different songs. There's no breaks, but they kind of just meld into a new song.
Yep.
And it kind of tells the story of time going by, and it's giving you some of his greatest hits during this 10-year period. I thought that scene was cleverly done, considering that it was 1942, and they were like, okay, so how do we do this? I thought whoever came with that deserves a high five.
And I thought that gave that gave me a great understanding of just how fucking popular this dude was. What does that thing span? Like a 10-year period?
Yeah.
Where this dude has constantly got shows on shows. He's got shows going at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. Another part that I thought that aged well was basically the choreography, the dancing. Cagney is a fucking boss.
I have tap dancing. Just like tap dancing in general is something to go along with what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. The scene for me is right after the little Johnny or whatever his name is,
little Johnny Jones,
the race. Yeah. and they go to the ship dock, and everybody's getting on the ship, and they're saying, we'll figure it out, and he stays behind, and the ship is going off in the distance, and there's a number in that sequence right there, in which his legs are moving like 1,000,000 miles an hour. Yeah. And for most of the time, I'm kind of just watching his feet and watching him do his thing. But in that sequence, if you watch it back, just look at his face, and you would think this dude is simply just walking across the street. Like it's effortless.
Yeah. Dude, I mean, it's like the scene where he goes to sign up for the military, and he's like, yeah, it's a lot harder to do what I do than, do what the military does. Let me show you. Like, the shit he's doing in there is fucking good. And then whenever
he's 30,
he tricks Mary,
he's 37, I guess.
39 right there. 39.
It's okay.
And then in the scene with Mary, where Mary thinks he's old, and then he starts doing the whole tap dancing gimmick with her. I mean, I've always loved like movies that had tap dancing and shit. That's always something, for whatever reason, it's just been of interest to me. And when I see that show up somewhere in a movie, I'm always like, I'm in. I'm glued in. Is it a revenge movie? I'm in. Okay. Is there sword fighting in this movie? I'm typically in. Is there tap dancing in this movie? I'm in.
So what you're saying is we need a revenge tap dancing sword fighting movie.
And Josh would be jizzing all over the place,
brother.
And then it has to star. I would say
James Cagney and Cary Elwes
and Jean-Claude Van Damme. And Vin Diesel.
Hey, dude, if Arnold comes out and starts tap dancing, that's my kind of movie, bro.
There you go.
You have to listen to me. I will kill you with my sword.
The only other thing I had for aged well, and I feel like this is more of like, I wish this aged well. I wish this is kind of where we were right now. From an overall feeling, is the patriotism in the movie. Like at this time, like everybody in the country is rallied together against a common enemy.
Absolutely.
Whereas, take the racial thing out of this right now, and I'm not dismissing that by any means, but just in terms of this movie, like everybody's rallied up against, the Germans and Japan and we're going into World War II, and everybody's like on that same page.
Yeah.
And now obviously, we're dealing with what we're dealing with, and it sucks.
Well, I think the closest
just kind of seeing that there was good.
I think the closest that we can think of in our lifetime would be fresh after 9/11, right?
Absolutely.
Like the country was, I was significant. Well, we all were, but significantly younger. I was in high school, so I probably gave a lot less of a shit.
It was 20 years ago.
Yeah. So I mean. But yeah, I mean, in general, the country was, all in on, fucking getting the terrorists, right? And
we were all listening to Toby Keith, and we were putting a boot in his ass.
Back when System of a Down was still new and relevant, and Spider-Man 2, shit like that. Much simpler times. But
coming back to the new Spider-Man 3, by the way.
But speaking of as far as aged well, for me, I think just the whole self-made man, guy came from nothing. I mean, his family. I mean, he did inherit a little bit. I mean, his family did have his dad and everybody had a little something going on. But ultimately,
but they weren't shit though. I mean, they were excited about meeting this guy. They put the cheap makeup up, hide the cheap makeup.
Yeah. I mean, they
were struggling.
They were locally doing decent, but they weren't anything crazy.
They weren't mainstream.
No, and he basically took that and built an entire enterprise. Built his whole empire up from nothing.
You know what? I will say another thing that was good, and I did not see anything in any of my research that said this was fiction. Was the fact that he made it big and then sent that letter to his family saying, come back because I need you. And then he did their shows with them and still did his shows that he was creating.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty fucking epic.
Yeah. So I mean, like, I think all of that self-made man stuff and you know, I think all of
Family.
that, yeah, that whole the family dynamic, I think that ages very well today. You know, so yeah, I liked that part of it.
I agree.
Last question:
Uh,
is this movie rewatchable?
I think we're gonna have some different answers here.
I don't think I will rewatch this movie unless I come across somebody who's never seen it and wants me to watch it with them.
Like, let's say this:
yeah.
you're on vacation, okay?
Yeah.
You're flipping through channels, and this shit's on TBS. You stopping to watch it, or you're like, eh?
I would not personally.
I will say this: if I didn't want to keep flipping the channels, I would leave it on there because at least I'm familiar with what I'm watching. And look, it would also depend on where we're at in the movie.
We're 20 minutes in, and it's adult Cohan. You got no more bullshit kid Cohan.
Then probably.
Yeah, for me, I don't think the movie is rewatchable for me unless I suddenly decide I want to create my own musical, right? Like I'm just not. I'm just not. Look, you say whatever you want. Maybe I just didn't get the movie, or I don't know. But like for me, like the movie just did not. The movie fell short of what I think I wanted out of the movie. Again, I don't know if that's the movie's fault. Maybe I just didn't have the right expectations. But I wanted to come out and actually be able to know and appreciate George Cohan as a man and appreciate his life and his legacy. And I just don't. And I don't think the movie did that for me.
Anyway, look, here's what I tell you. While I feel like Toy Story might be the better movie, this movie is infinitely more rewatchable than both the other movies we've done so far for me. I've rewatched this movie 3 times, and I don't know if it's going to be in the rotation, but like I bought the movie, so it's on my list of movies that I own. So in the instance that I'm looking for something to watch and I can't come across anything, it might get the occasional watch. So I think it's definitely rewatchable. I enjoyed it.
Fair enough.
Yep.
That's it. Yankee Doodle Dandy is a 50. What we rated? A 52 on the shit-o-meter. 52. So slightly, what we're saying. Well, I'm not saying that, but what we're saying is
it's right in the middle of the road there.
It's just past the zone of a good movie that we'd recommend, and just slightly into this is slightly a shit movie.
Yeah. It could really go either way for anybody.
I would say, yeah, I think 50. I think right around 50 or whatever is pretty accurate. You know, some people are gonna like this movie, and some people are just not gonna get as much out of it as others. So, which I think is relevant.
Well, we're moving into the future next week. We're going 40 years into the future as far as the movies being made, but we're going way into the future as far as when this movie takes place. We're going on to Blade Runner, sci-fi classic Blade Runner.
For those listening in, that Josh just did air quotes. Yeah. So I just wanted to make sure our podcast listeners got that info.
Let me tell you guys a little story real quick.
Is this a spoiler for next week?
I've watched Yankee Doodle Dandy once while he was doing other things. Okay, because I take this seriously, I have already watched Blade Runner 3 times in the last month. Okay, I'm gonna watch it 2 more times before we get to this podcast because I want to be sure that the rating I give is what this movie deserves.
Absolutely.
I think you will have seen Blade Runner more than I think you'll have seen Blade Runner more than I ever plan on seeing Blade Runner.
Let me tell you a story. If the next 2 times I watch this movie don't make it any better, I'll never watch it again. But hey, stick around for that shit-o-meter rating. We're going to be doing that actually in 2 weeks. Next week, we got Best Breakfast Cereal Bracket.
Oh, yeah. Man. Talk about, I was going to say talk about getting hungry. But that was not a good segue. So,
Stick around for that if you want to see Cocoa Pebbles run the gamut.
Spoiler!
Nope.
I don't think we have any chocolate wait.
There is no chocolate cereal on this bracket.
Wait, spoiler! Reese's Puffs. That I think that counts a little bit.
No.
Okay.
That's like peanut butter.
It's chocolate
I
and
definitely
peanut
think of
butter.
Peanut butter first. Yeah. Anyway, we've made it to the end of another podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for checking out our AFI review of Yankee Doodle Dandy. Come back next week if you want to be told what the best breakfast cereal is of all time.
Also,
in the meantime,
if you live in the state of Texas, please be careful come Monday.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully, if Dave does his job, this will get out there on Monday. Everybody, live long and prosper.
Bye. Take it easy.